Good morning, Art and Answers. I hope that you're having a wonderful day today. I am really excited about us doing our Kookaburra design today. And it's all about laughter and how important laughter really is. And maybe how we can do some exercises to make sure that we are experiencing that joy. Sometimes you gotta fake it till you make it, right? But there's a lot of ways to pay attention to those things, and we're going to talk about that today. So I thought maybe I would change up the background color and just kind of see how things change just when you go to a different dominant color. But excuse me. So last month, we cleared the static. We looked at overwhelm and we did our fun little girls. And so that was about overwhelm and identifying the things that we probably need to let go of. And that kind of swoops right into this month's because we cleaned out our purse, we cleared out mental clutter, we identified things that don't need to be there. And it was all in an effort to gain some mental clarity, which leads us right into this month, which is kind of returning to our old selves. Now, in an earlier lesson, we did talk about forgiving yourself for not being who you used to be. Used to be healthier, used to be thinner, used to have it all together. It doesn't matter. That's not who you necessarily are today. It's certainly not who I am today. The experiences that you have mold you. And so now we're going to be returning to a version of ourselves that we like and desire. So this month we're going to be looking for quirky, fun things that we need to pay attention to. And we made a list as the theme building activity this month. And I mean, you guys just, it was great. I mean, we had just all kinds of quirky things that we're paying attention to that kind of bring you joy, bring a smile to your face, bring a little something, a little warmth to you. And I can't read them all. There are too many, but crisp fall days, hair washed in the salon, shaved ice, puppy breath, gazing at the ocean, tactile toys. I particularly liked being able to hear semis on the interstate on winter evenings. That was an interesting one. Cats purring, soft, comfy blankets, dark chocolate. I kind of like that one. Of course, grandchildren, the first fireflies of the season, the smell of cinnamon, baby animals, dew on plants. Interesting. Drunken bees. I thought that was fun, and that is true. They get a little bit frenzied when they get so much activity. Walking the dog, chat with friends, thunderstorms, watching the rain from your porch. So there were lots of ideas. And for this project today, we're going to be writing down, we're going to be creating some chaos in the background. And then we're going to be writing down some of these things that kind of wash all that away. And so if you need some inspiration, just go to that post and read the comments. So, hey, Loretta. So that's one. So we're going to be setting this up. Let me see. We're going to be doing the Kookaburra, like I said. And if you don't know, the kookaburra is a bird from Australia. I swear I have heard that sound in every movie of the deep wild, you know, but they're only in Australia. So, so there must be some other bird that sounds similar. But anyway, so we're gonna get started. I'm gonna turn you down to my table. Oop. There we go. Turn you down here. And I'm just gonna put this up here. So instead of the orange, I decided that I would do purples and blue, because if you look on the color wheel, to get the most contrast, you need the opposite side of the color wheel. And so I just kind of see this triangle here. I'm going to put this arrow sort of in between these two colors, because these are the two colors, you know, that I'm using. Actually, I guess it could be over here somewhere, but I think we're going to use those. So if you look at this triangle here, to get the most composition, to get the most contrast, we're going to be using the blues and purples, oranges and greens. Or you could just go straight for the yellows and oranges right here. But we're going to, I wanted a little bit more diversity in the birds, so I went with this color scheme. And it's going to work perfectly with the purple instead of the orange. But we'll see. We'll see which one we like the best. All right. So you could use this, you could paint this with a paintbrush if you wanted to. I'm going to kind of do the scraping because it's kind of fun. And I'm going to get this over here because I almost always get too much paint. So this is just an old, you know, hotel key. Didn't have anything on it. And, you know, it used to be when they first came out, people thought that your credit card information was loaded onto those cards. So nobody wanted to turn them back in. But now we know that that's not true. So I'm going to go here and just going to scrape some of this paint on here. Got kind of a little acrylic boogie. I don't use acrylic much anymore, but we're gonna use it for this. And this is why I almost always get too much paint, because I just love the colors and they're just so pretty. So this is just mixed media paper. It's just a little bit less expensive than the watercolor paper. Look at that, isn't that beautiful? So I opted to use that just for the background. Isn't that fun? And I'm just offloading. A lot of times I offload this onto copy paper and then use it in my mixed media later, but I just didn't feel like doing that today. There's one of those little boogies. Okay. So we got it. Isn't that pretty? I have to be careful. I don't have my apron on today. All right. So I guess I should move this over so you guys can see better. There we go. Sorry about that. Okay. And then I just chose a stencil that I like. And it could be any stencil because we're really just creating some chaos in the background. And so this is a neon pink, which I know is pretty cool on here. And I'm just going to be using a baby wipe. And since a lot of neon colors are really transparent, fairly transparent anyway, so you kind of have to be careful, kind of pay attention to what you're doing. Oh, isn't that fun? So I chose the Kookaburra because they kind of sit in the tree, and you know, if you listen to the video that I provided, they sound like they're laughing. And it's like they sit up there and they just laugh at what's going on around them. And I think sometimes as we mature, we get to that point where we're like, ugh, you know, you just don't jump in as much. You become more of an observer, you know, one who kind of laughs at life. You don't take things quite as seriously as you once did. And it's really kind of comical to watch younger people who just get so upset and bent out of shape about things, especially things that I know I used to be upset about. But as we get older, we realize it's going to work itself out. It really is. Put a little bit more right here. And I think that's the luxury of maybe you have a few more aches and pains than you used to. I think that may be, you know, the benefit of putting up with that you're just smarter. There we go. So I like that. I like how it's, you know, the pink just pops up. I think I'll put some up here too. All right, that's good. I'll get my hands a little clean. So we're going to we've already created a little bit of chaos. We're going to be writing down some things and gluing them on to create the rest of the chaos in our background. I'm going to move these because we won't need those anymore. And what I did was I just took some white tissue paper, and to create chaos, I just sort of drew some craziness. I'm not 100% how well this green is going to show up on this, but we're going to find out. There we go. And maybe, you know, I like swirls. We'll do some swirls. Woo, woo, woo. There we go. And this is an R2 Blast number 7. Honestly, I think this came from the dollar store, but it does write really pretty. It's a really light green, but I do like it. All right, so because I knew this was going to be wet, I went ahead and made one that would be dry. And I'm going to be using this liquid matte medium to be gluing these down. You really can use regular glue if you want to. Ooh. And this is my dedicated bowl and my dedicated brush, because once you put this brush in there, you cannot get it all completely clean. So, all right. So I'm gonna paint this medium on here, and I'm gonna put this on. Oh, good, it's gonna show. Sometimes you never know. Just wherever you want to put. I even like it when tissue paper. I love to use tissue paper because sometimes it wrinkles up and it gives you a cool texture. See, like that one really wrinkled. I like it. I like it. Put this swirly bird here. Swirly bird. All right. Overlap some of those. Okay. Okay. Then we're going to go to our Tiny Odd Joys list, and we're going to start writing on there. And I used the the new waterproof pens that I found, the Staedtler, Staedtler. I'm really enjoying these. Got these at Hobby Lobby, I'm pretty sure. And we're going to start writing down some of the answers to our chaos. And that was the simple joys that you guys all suggested, like the smell of books, dew on plants, whatever. And so I did this on a pattern. You know, I found a pattern at my mom's and it was not useful anymore. And so I knew that it would be interesting because we'll see the words that are printed on it. So this one says McCall's 4118. If you sew a lot, you know what this is for. So we're gonna just cover up all the chaos and with these answers. And I'm going to let this stick out over. I'm not going to glue it down on the edge. When I take the tape off, then you'll be able to see it. Perfectly ripe bananas. I like that one. Uh-oh. I don't want glue on my tape there. All right. Ocean gazing. Go right up to the edge of that tape right there. So have you ever sat on a bench in a crowded area and people watched? It's pretty fascinating, actually. This was one of my parents' favorite pastimes when they weren't seeking solitude. But you learn a lot about human nature that way. It's amazing. But we're going to paint this kookaburra like he's doing that. Like he's just sitting around sitting around, people watching, trying to figure out why in the world we do the things that we do. And we're going to paint him steadily grounded, not flying or performing, unaffected by the chaos around him that we just created, quietly observing and being more selective, finding joy in his wisdom. And we just painted the answer to that over top of all the chaos. I think I'll save that one. Okay. Because when you start to gain wisdom as an older person, a more mature person, it's really the realization that you're noticing that you're retiring from who you used to be. You don't need to be so uptight. You don't need to worry about these things because you know that there's an answer. Okay. There we go. Now, I'm going to dry this with the heat tool. I know that's loud, but it's got to be a little bit drier before we can move on to the next thing. So just hang tight for a second. It's not quite 100%, but we're going to put it to the side anyway and get started on our watercolor birds. And you can see that I've already put some of the blue down because I wanted there to be some blue undertones. There is blue in their feathers. But see, this gray has a blue undertone. These feathers have a blue undertone. And, I wasn't trying to paint it to where it looked exactly like real life. Much more stylized than that. But I did want it to have, some remnants of reality there. So when you're watching the kookaburra from a distance, you start to realize that you're tired of being the only one who notices everything. You hesitate to volunteer more now than you used to. At least I hope you are. Some of the lessons that we've learned. You want to leave. I noticed this the other day. You want to leave before everything is wrapped up. We went to business after hours, and I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm out of here. And of course I couldn't do that because you know, I was with other people, so, but I wanted to, and I was thinking about you guys. You don't feel like you really need to fix all those awkward moments anymore. And maybe you're starting to wander. Even just wander in your mind. Because you're starting to look for the things that please you. Maybe for the first time in your life. And those are things you need to pay attention to. I have to grab another, some more paper towels. There we go. So I didn't take a whole lot of time to like center this or anything because we're going to cut it out anyway. So, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to use watercolors, and we're also going to use these, I want to tell you that they're Distress watercolor pencils. Okay? And they're a lot like they look like crayons, but they're pencils. And then if you decide to put water on them, see, I did an experiment right here with a flesh tone, and it literally washed it off. But it will smooth it out. And I'll show you in just a minute. Let me get rid of this one. All right. So we're going to go very similar to the design that I created initially. I'm going to put some yellow over here. And we're going to kind of get started. Anyways, I laid down this blue because I wanted it to be dry for this point. And just have to kind of go with your gut here, really. I want this to be kind of a green. And I'm going to put a little green in this one. Maybe some olive. Yeah. I'm going to use the olive one on top of this one to shade this. And this particular one I'm just doing mostly dry, wet on dry. So often you see me do wet on wet because I just love that look. But we're going to go with this today. And you know, you get too much pigment or too much water and you can just go right in there and pick it right up. And I'm going to get kind of a brown. I'm going to do this here just as the underpainting. This should have a little blue down here. Let me go ahead and add that and let it dry. So, so this is one of those things that you feel absolutely ridiculous doing. And I'm glad that you're not going to watch me do this. I have watched someone else do this exercise and it looks totally ridiculous. But we're going to do it together. But we're just going to hear it, okay? But this is an exercise where you can literally change the brain chemicals in your mind if you just force yourself to laugh for 1 solid minute. 1 solid minute. And I'm already laughing about it because it's so silly. Okay, so ready? We're just gonna laugh and make silly sounds and slap the table or your knee or whatever, and just make sure you're really breathing while you're doing it. So, you ready? We're gonna get started. Everybody do it with me. Don't make me feel foolish, okay? All right, ready? I'm looking at my watch. Woo! You notice after a while, you actually really start laughing. Oh. Oh, all right. All right. All right. It's not quite a minute, but that's probably enough. I'm already genuinely tickled. So, but see how much better you feel? So that is a way that you can bring yourself out of a funk. You sometimes just have to make it happen. But so that's kind of the mood that we're going to put into our kookaburras here. And you have to decide, are they going to be amused? Are they going to be, kind of unimpressed? How often has something like that happened where you're like, oh my gosh, I'm just unimpressed. I'm just going to stand here, right? But, all right. They could be wise. They could be kind of mischievous, mischievous. I need a filbert, and I didn't get it out. Let's see. Here's one. All right, so so many of my things that I paint with this giant brush, but I'm going to use this filbert. Okay. And I think I'd rather have a little more yellow in that. There we go. All right, so I'm going to use this filbert and bring in some little feathers. Even though we're not doing, a realistic bird, we still got to have some feathers. And that's what's really nice about a filbert. It just basically builds your feather right on there. And brush strokes are very important. You got to practice those. Okay. Are you still there? I had one of those calls. All right, I'm going to put you back up here. Okay. Say something to me so I know you're still there. says I'm live, so I'm going to go ahead. All right. So the takeaways from this is that, you know, we're giving language to some of these things that we just hadn't thought of before. And being able to, you know, give it some new life. And when you name something, then you've already almost won the battle. You know exactly how you're feeling. And it removes the guilt instead of adding some responsibility, which is so important. We're trying to get rid of some of that. You can start enjoying a new playful identity, even if it's just practicing it, just trying it on for size, see if it works for you. And most importantly, I don't want anyone to feel like they have come up against something and they need a full life overhaul, because that is so not true. That is so not necessary. We're just doing things one thing at a time. There's really nothing wrong. I know a lot of times people feel like, oh, there's something wrong with me. And there's not. There's not. Life just keeps marching on, and you have to stick with it. Give this little tone here. How you liking it? You guys liking it? All right. Just gonna add some there. We gotta come up with some kind of a color for this branch. I guess we'll go for a darker brown since this one is kind of a light brown. And some of this is going to be brought out with the pencils as well. And we need a little color in here. Just seems to be almost a neon yellow. But I don't mind it. I think it'll be fine. Especially on that background that we made. Okay. Now we're going to mix some kind of a brown. So this is already pretty nice brown, actually. I'm gonna add a little white. Gives it kind of a mossy feel, maybe some yellow. Yeah. Anytime that you're mixing like this, you need to make sure you have enough for the entire project. It's kind of it's almost like a gray. I'm not a fan. That's better. Yeah, that's better. All right. This I am gonna do wet on wet, even though I've already got color in my brush. I'm gonna add some because I want it to be darker under the bird in this like knot here. There's a piece of the bird I missed altogether. And remember, you don't have to paint every bit of it in. Sometimes the whites that you leave, you know, they become natural highlights. Okay, and now I'm just going to pick up some straight brown. I'm going to put it right into these places where I want it to be darker. Put it in that knot. I'll put it under this bird. That's a little bit too dark. See how those colors are just starting to blend in, starting to make it look more like wood. All right. Let's check out our backdrop over here. Background. It's just about, it's almost dry. But this needs to be made dry so that we can use the colored pencils. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and do the some of the line work so that we can add the color pencil. I had this long piece of hair draped across here, and it was taped to my piece. Okay. So this is what's going to really define our areas that are going to need a little more definition from there. I always have to figure out what is what. So here's this little beak. And you don't, at least with my style of line work, you don't have to make sure you're using a real steady hand. I kind of like it, you know, this way. So we're just defining this bird a little bit and giving it some shape, and giving some of these lines, these brush marks that we made, giving them some definition. And you got to be thinking about, you know, where are the shadows? Where are the shadows? Create those under all those little feathers. All the edges that are not defined. Make sure that you've got that going on. And kind of the more you start to put in it, the more you're like, oh, I see. I see how that works. But this is one of those things you just have to get over the fear. All right. And I went ahead and made my wood all the way, my branch here, all the way to the edge, because when I take this off, and I'll show you, when I take this off and put it on the background, I want the branch to stick out more, just like the pieces of the pattern that we glued on. So this goes in front of this bird. And you just kind of go along with the color. See how it's darker there? So I'm going to create sort of a shadow under that darker color. All right. I'll probably add some more to his face and stuff, but I'm going to show you. So especially with lighter colors, I like to come in and add it in over. And it really gives a vibrancy. And you don't have to put it everywhere, just where you're wanting a little extra punch. See how that's working? Gonna add some on top of these feathers. And don't forget, this is watercolor pencils. So if you want to come in and make it a little smoother, just with water, you can just add that. Let me see. Okay. There we go. All right. So obviously this needs a lot more. This whole bird needs to be done. I'm going to go ahead and cut it out so that you can see, and you can leave a little bit of an edge if you want, or you can cut it right on this side of the bird. But I'm going to go ahead and cut it out so that you can see what it looks like on the background. And I think I'm going to cut it a little bit closer to the design. I'm not feeling the fussy cut today. That's my prerogative, right? All right. Oh, I like that little feather like that. like a little hook on their bill a little bit. There are some things when you're doing the pen work, some of the details on the face really do need to be clear. You can scribble a lot when it comes to shading areas or things that you don't, sometimes that you don't actually know how it goes or how it's supposed to be built. But the face, especially the eyes, the eyes and the nose are really sort of defining characteristics. So you really have to be kind of careful. If I had messed this up and lopped it off right there, it wouldn't have looked like a kookaburra. So you do have to be careful with some of these things. I am gonna leave, you know what, I'm gonna leave this bird not cut out because I want to have space for my scribbles, okay? Because sometimes they get outside of, onto the white part, which is fine with me. So I'm just going to kind of loosely cut this so you can see. We're already done with this branch, so I'm going to get closer on the branch. I'm excited to see it on the background. It's gonna be so much different than the orange background. Okay. Of course, I save all these big pieces. Don't really save all those teeny tiny pieces. All right. And I'm going to hit this with a little heat so the tape comes up easy. One thing in particular I noticed different in this one and the orange one is the pattern itself, didn't play very nice with the beige color of the beige color of the pattern didn't play very nice with the purple. And that's something I should have thought of. It played very nice with the orange. But these are the things that you learn, and these are the ways that you learn how to anticipate how things might turn out. So see what I did there? I pulled that up because I didn't glue it down. Same thing here. When I get all finished, I'll glue that down and then cut the edge. And the reason things like this are important in your art is because it does show, it gives you a little professional edge because it shows that you anticipated, you made an effort to make it special. This would never have happened by accident. We're going to glue that down. I suppose you could paint it. I suppose you could glue some more on afterwards, but So we got the big reveal. You ready? This one's not done. I'll probably glue that just like that. What do you think? What's your preference? I think I could have done this one with more oranges and it would have popped a little bit more. But I still love it. I still love it. And we learned a method to, let me bring you back up here. So we learned a method to jog yourself into a better mood and get some of that, those feel-good hormones going and enjoying the kookaburra, right? All right. So thanks so much for coming today. And I'm sorry about that call in the middle. And we will be, anything that you find the rest of the month that gives you a little bit of odd joy, just go ahead and put it in that post. Okay? All right. Thanks.